Leonard Mlodinow opens The Drunkard's Walk with a deceptively simple image, a man walking aimlessly, each step determined by chance. This metaphor sets the stage for the central premise of the book, that randomness pervades our lives far more than we acknowledge, shaping success, failure, and everything in between. He invites the reader to see life not as a series of predictable steps, but as a wandering journey influenced by probability, misperception, and chance events. The early chapters sweep through history, tracing humanity's evolving relationship with randomness. Ancient civilizations clung to the belief that everything happened for a reason, divine will, fate, or cosmic justice. Mlodinow shows how it took millennia for the idea of true randomness to gain acceptance. He introduces the mathematical rebels of the Renaissance who began to quantify uncertainty, such as Girolamo Cardano, a gambler and physician who secretly drafted theories of probability. The story of randomness continues with Pascal and Fermat, who corresponded in the 17th century about problems in gambling, inadvertently laying the groundwork for modern probability theory. Their work, Mlodinow notes, was driven not by lofty scientific goals, but by curiosity and games of chance. These tales humanize mathematics, presenting it as a discipline born not in pristine halls but in dice games, arguments, and everyday problems. Mlodinow moves fluidly into the story of Jacob Bernoulli and the law of large numbers, revealing how the outcomes of random processes become more predictable when repeated many times. He uses coin flips and lottery examples to make abstract concepts intuitive, guiding readers to understand that while chance governs individual outcomes, patterns emerge in the aggregate. This duality, chaos in the short term, order in the long, is a major theme. The book then shifts to the psychology of randomness, exposing how humans misjudge probability. Mlodinow introduces us to the work of psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky, who discovered systematic biases in the way people perceive chance. Through real-life examples, he demonstrates how people cling to hot hands, misunderstand streaks, and overestimate the significance of patterns that arise purely from randomness. As the book progresses, Nussbaum's tone becomes more reflective. He begins to explore philosophical questions. Is the universe fundamentally random? Can randomness coexist with meaning? Drawing from quantum physics and algorithmic information theory, he entertains the idea that even the deepest structures of reality may be probabilistic. These discussions are never abstract for the sake of it. He consistently pulls the reader back to the practical. How does this influence the way we think, design, build, and live? In an unusual but welcome twist, Nussbaum brings in cultural and literary references to support his points. He draws parallels between the randomness in language generation models and the chaotic creativity of stream-of-consciousness novels. This literary awareness gives the book richness and helps anchor it in human experience. It's not just about code or math, it's about perception, narrative, and the way we construct meaning from noise. The final chapters focus on randomness in artificial intelligence and machine learning. Nussbaum outlines how random initialization, dropout, and data augmentation all rely on carefully controlled randomness. He presents a small but functional machine learning pipeline and shows how each layer benefits from injecting noise. These are not just technical tricks, they are reflections of the larger theme that randomness allows systems to escape ruts, explore new configurations, and evolve. What makes the art of randomness truly stand out is its rhythm of alternating between building and thinking, between the hard mechanics of simulation and the soft texture of interpretation. Nussbaum respects the reader's intelligence but never assumes prior expertise. His tone is encouraging, his explanations patient, and his projects rewarding. It's a book written with care, not just to teach but to inspire. By the end, the reader comes away with more than a set of tools. They gain a transformed perspective. Randomness is no longer something to fear or fight against, but a partner in progress and discovery. Whether it's in art, science, coding, or thought, randomness becomes a path to innovation, resilience, and even joy. Nussbaum's gift is not just in explaining complexity, but in revealing its beauty. The final pages reflect on the future, where randomness will play an increasing role in decentralized systems, AI creativity, and probabilistic thinking in education and policy. Nuzzle leaves us with a challenge, to embrace randomness not just as a concept but as a practice. To build with it, learn from it, and let it lead us into the unknown, not blindly, but with curiosity and confidence. It's a satisfying and hopeful conclusion to a book that turns uncertainty into a source of clarity. In a particularly moving section, Mlodinow recounts his father's survival of a Nazi concentration camp. This personal narrative is not just an emotional touchstone, it's an embodiment of randomness as life-altering force. His father's survival was not due solely to strength or cleverness, it was a random confluence of timing, location, and luck. These reflections elevate the book, linking its intellectual themes to the profound unpredictability of human life. Toward the end, Mlodinow applies his ideas to decision-making. He encourages readers to incorporate probabilistic thinking into their everyday lives, to evaluate risks rationally, to separate noise from signal, and to judge outcomes based on process, not just results. He challenges readers to ask not only what happened but why and how likely was it to happen again. The writing remains crisp and witty throughout. Mlodinow's background in physics and his collaborations with figures like Stephen Hawking shine through in the clarity of his explanations. But the book's true strength lies in its ability to mix education with narrative. The reader doesn't feel lectured but led, gently, cleverly, through a landscape where luck is a silent architect. By the final chapter, The Drunkard's Walk has transformed the way the reader views the world. Success is less deterministic, failure less damning, and the role of luck more evident and humbling. Rather than fearing this uncertainty, Mlodinow invites us to embrace it, to see randomness not as a threat, but as an essential part of existence. The walk may be drunkardly, but understanding the nature of its steps gives us power, perspective, and grace.